Okay, here we are at video number 6 on our little YouTube mini-series on how to get the flying change in hand. And I've got my friend Mr. Bucephalus here helping me out. Now, Bucephalus is a schoolmaster horse, as you know. If you want to learn how to do this from scratch with horses that don't already understand it, well, of course, there's many, many more components than we can show in these short videos. However, they are all over on our website, heliosharmony.com. Just go over there, join it, do the course. It's an online course, and everything that you need to know will be there. You work up to it over about 24 months or 36 months, depending on how long you've got to work with your horse per week. Okay, but this is for the overview. So we arrived at the canter transition out of the piaffe in both directions. Now I would like to do a pattern 1 with a straight bit to a canter transition towards me, and then I'd like to make that a bit straight, probably back to the piaffe, and then do a canter transition away from me. Let's see if we can do this. All right, so here I go. I place the outside rein in the place of power, which is just in front of the wither. I take my thumb and forefinger in front of the bit, in front of the keeper of the buckle of my inside rein. There we go. And now I do a little bit pattern 1. He knows what's coming. There's a little bit pattern 2, where it's a bit renvers. Now I turn him towards me again and do my little skip. Are you ready? And super, good. Now I go a little bit straight, change the flexion away. Are you ready? Super, okay. So what that required, as you can see, was a pattern 1 and a pattern 2 canter transition with a little bit of straightness in between. And we have now refined down our pattern 1 and pattern 2. Instead of being big circles, now they're just a few steps to one side and a few steps to the other side. In this case, a little bit shoulder in or leg yield to a little bit half pass or renvers. And this puts both, you eating a rein? This puts both inside, this puts both hind legs under the point of gravity, which allows the horse to do this. What you also probably noticed was that in between the flying changes, the horse has to go a little bit to the shoulders and then retrieve himself to come back, and that's where your piaffe helps you. Okay, so how do we now change this sequence, pattern 1 canter transition, straighten out, pattern 2 canter transition, into a flying change? Head over to our final video, number 7, and we're going to show you. Okay, before we head over to that next video where we're actually going to do the flying change, I just want to clarify that now in the pattern 2 phase, it could be a traver, it could be a half pass, and it could be a renvers, depending on the angle that the horse is in. We're now getting into that technical aspect of horse training, and we actually had a little discussion about this behind camera, because on the previous one there I said, oh, he's in a bit renvers now, and my wife thought he was in a bit traver, but from my perspective it felt like and looked like renvers. These are actually really interesting little sort of side notes, because they allow us to nerd out. But what's important is that the outside hind in your pattern 2 is under the point of gravity, and that could end up looking like a traver, a half pass, or a renvers. And the same thing with your pattern 1, it could look like a leg yield, or it could look like a shoulders in. You start to see how these patterns are actually tools that, if you combine them, get you cool stuff. Okay, let's just do our simple changes to the other side, and then we'll be ready to head over to video number 7, the actual flying change. All right. So thank you, Boo, for helping me out here. I'm very appreciative. All right, so we're going to go a little bit pattern 1. I've got to look for my ground here. And when that's good, I'm going to ask for a little bit piaffe. And I'm going to ask for a little bit canter transition. Are you ready? Super. Now I'm going to ask for a little bit pattern 2. Are you ready? And super. So now we did both sides of our simple changes in hand. Head on over to video number 7, and we're going to put them together in a flying change.